Alright, hey, what's up guys? Michael here from Tech Diffuse. Today I want to follow up on the last video where I showed you some basics in Python, and in this video I'll show you some more basics of strings in Python. So here we go. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to show you today is how to use escape characters in Python. So we will start by writing a simple print line, and we have a first line and we have a second line. So if I compile this, you see we have everything written in one single file, in one single line. But there is a possibility to have divided this string in one print statement into two lines. And one of the possibilities is to use an escape character, and the escape character with n. So what I mean by that, we escape with a backslash and put an n in there. So n stands for new line. Okay, so and if I compile this, you see we have a first line and a second line. And if we get rid of the white space, so we have backslash n directly and second line, we have a first line and we have a second line. So backslash n is an escape character that's you can use to have to break a text in one single string. Keep in mind. Okay, so there's another possibility to reach that, and for that I will just copy this line and I will replace backslash n by backslash r. So, okay, let's see what happens. And there you go. We have only written a second line here. So, what does that mean? In earlier programming, well, I will make this away. Okay, we have only a second line here. So what does this mean? The R means this is a carriage return. So this is used from the old typewriters when really the typewriter was returned. So we're staying the same line and we return everything. Okay, and we combine this with backslash n and backslash r. And there you go. We have first line and second line. So why is this so important? You may remember that in some operating systems like Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, the new line is interpreted differently. So this is maybe a small thing, but actually it can be very important if you interchange files between those operating systems. So one operating system marks the end line with backslash n, the other operating system marks end line with backslash r, and another operating system marks the new line with backslash n and r. So keep that in mind. So this is important. Backslash n, backslash r, and nr combined can do such things. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is the tab. So we write again. This is a text, and we make backslash t and tab. Okay, so you see we have here, this is a text, and then we have 3 white spaces and a tab. Okay, so we can insert another t. And there you go, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a tab, you already know what the tab is, I guess. And this is just a possibility with backslash t to insert a tab inside a string. That's pretty much it. Can be handy, can be useful when you wanna format some text. And yeah, just keep in mind using this. Okay, the next thing is, so we already learned that a backslash indicates an escape character. So how do you write then a backslash? Because a backslash is kind of a special character. And the obvious answer is we write a backslash and escape it. So there you go. We have only one backslash printed out, but we have written 2 backslashes. So this is a possibility to escape and backslash. In modern Python version, it is more gracefully. So if you only write 1 backslash, it can work. Probably it won't work, as you can see here. If you have a backslash directly after a double quote, it tries to escape this double quote, which obviously doesn't work. But let's say if we make a space here, we have a backslash and then an empty space. If we compile, there you go, we have a single backslash. So keep in mind, it can work, but there are some pitfalls. So you're more safe if you write a double backslash, then you're good. Then you escape the backslash and then you can write a backslash after a double quote. Okay, that's it. So a more practical way why we can use the backslash to escape us is when you have a file name written into a string. What I mean by that, for instance, we write print, and in Windows we typically have, for instance, C backslash some name. Okay. So what will happen if I compile this? We compile it and we see we have C sum and then aim. Okay, this is clearly not what we wanted. The reason why this happens is, as you can here see in the interpreter, it already highlights that backslash n marks a new line. And this is what we already learned in some minutes before. And to prevent this, again, we just escape. We escape the backslash, and there you go. We have C backslash some backslash name. And there we have the path we wanted to print out. So if we have, for instance, a long path where we have a lot of backslashes, this can be tedious and we don't want to escape every single backslash there. Or imagine if we have a variable. If we put this this here in a variable and we have no control here. What I mean by that, we put it here, make this, and this is the string we got, for instance, from the operating system or from some program. This is the only string we got. We want to print the string. This is what happens. And to prevent this, there is a raw mode in Python. So a raw mode is we tell Python to ignore every special character and just print it out as it is. So how this happens is we just take our print statements from before, we take our string, and we put the R in front. And if we compile, see there, we have written the string, the path in this case, as we want it. So C, double point, backslash some, backslash name. And the backslash n is not interpreted. And we already see it here in the editor. Backslash n is not marked because we've written the R here. If I remove it, you see the n is already interpreted and marked as a special character. So get rid of it and we're good. Okay, so another way to write multiline strings is to use triple quotes. What I mean by that, I will show you right now. Okay, so we write our print statements and we have triple quotes at the beginning and at the end. And everything here, this is a string and we run it. So far nothing special. We have printed out our string. Everything is fine. As I said, this can interpret multiline strings. So if we break this, we have a multiline string. We compile it, and you already see we have this is a string and we have these empty spaces. So this is a relatively easy method to create multiline strings with Python. Okay, since this is a pretty boring example, we'll make it a bit more interesting. You probably have seen already, if you use some console commands, that if you use them wrong, they deliver you a small how-to usage. So for instance, we have a program, it says usage, and it's something like this, a thingy, and we have options, and we have like -h, and display some options, and if you use capital H with the host name, we have like host name to connect to. Okay, so if you run that, and there you go, we have with relatively easy onboard help, we have created a nice little usage manual. And this is due to the help of Python with 3 double quotes. So one thing you may notice that we have printed an empty line in before. This is automatically done when you use those triple quotes. Python Python by its own interprets the first line as a new line. So if you want to prevent the first new line to be written, there's a handy little tool. We just can use the escape character / at the first line after the last double quote. So if you put the / there, you see already it is marked as a special character, and if we run it, you see there's no new line. So this comes in handy because we don't always want a new line printed out when we write such multi-line strings. Okay, so now I want to show you a bit more of Python and strings, how to concatenate and how to repeat strings. What I've already showed you in the last video is if you write something like this, we have a string ABC, and we make a plus and we concatenate with X, Y, Z. So if we run it, there you go, we have ABC and XYZ directly concatenated behind in another. There is another tool. We can multiply, for instance, the first string. The rules are similar to mathematical rules. So what I mean by that, for instance, we take 3 times ABC plus XYZ. What happens? Oh, okay, we have ABC, 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 XYZ. So to handle strings with this operator is really like having a mathematical operation to a certain extent. It doesn't work with minus or with the divisors, but with this plus and multiplying, it does work. So keep in mind, the multiplier can multiply some simple strings, and the plus concatenates our strings. So another way to concatenate strings in Python is if you just use a multiline and put them in several quotes. So what I mean by that, for instance, we have our text, we make the round brackets, and we write, this is some text, and we print it out, text, this is some text, nothing special, and we go here, we make a return, and this is another text. Okay, what will happen? There you go. It puts them directly behind another. So it's also a concatenation, but we don't use the plus sign. When we use the round brackets, we can just write the string and we can break the line, and it's actually only for us humans to make it more human readable. For instance, if you have not so many line numbers available, like in some coding, sometimes when you code with peers, they only allow like 80 lines, so that all have the same view on their computers. This makes it much more convenient, and this is some way to make this possible, to have the strings concatenated without making the line too long. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. A comment if you liked it, and if you not liked it, give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.